Okay, just a review. Last meeting, we discussed duality theory, no, the relationships between primal and dual, and I taught you how to uh, derive the dual model from the given primal LP model, no? Assuming that the primal LP model is symmetric. As I told you last meeting, the very first step for you to be able to derive the dual model is to make sure that the primal is in symmetric form. So yung example ko last meeting sa inyo, the primal LP model was already in symmetric form. No? It's a maximization problem and all the constraints were less than. So we did not have to convert the model from asymmetric to symmetric. It was already symmetric. So we were able to derive the dual. And then I taught you how to make use of duality theorem 1 and 2, and also the relationships that I taught you here. Okay, these relationships on the left side of your screen. Using those together with the two theorems, I taught you how to derive this one. Okay, so from the optimal tableau of the primal, which is the one you see on the right side of your screen this time, here, okay, we were able to make use of theorem 2 and 3 to derive the contents of the optimal tableau of the dual. And I would like you to make an observation. No? From theorem number 2, we said that the value, the optimal value of the primal, which is C, and the optimal value of the dual, which is Y sub O, are both equal to 635 here. Okay, they're both equal. So we will perhaps begin our discussion today with this particular principle. Take note that the values of Z and Y sub O are equal to 635, and both iterations are actually feasible. So if you look at the solution column, the basic variables in the dual are both positive. The basic variables in the primal are both positive, no? Are all positive. Meaning, you have a feasible basic solution for the primal and a feasible basic solution for the dual. Okay, so as we go through the theorems later on, as we review, you will see that the key phrase in those theorems is that when we compare primal and dual solutions, both of them have to be feasible. Okay, so let's go there in a bit. No, we've done with this. No, last meeting, the concept of shadow price, knowing the value of y. In fact, we ended the session last meeting. For those who left early, we ended the session by getting the optimal solution or deriving the optimal solution of the dual, no? And this is the optimal solution. Okay, and again, I discussed the economic interpretation or the significance of the dual variables in decision making. Last meeting, I told you that the meaning of the dual variables is actually that it is the shadow price of the resources used in the primal LP model. Again, the resources are those that are on the right-hand side of your primal constraints. If you recall, the first resource in our primal LP model last meeting pertains to labor time. The second constraint or the second resource pertains to machine time. And the last one pertains to a marketing constraint or the marketing effort to sell product A. Okay, so we had 3 resources last time, and each of these resources will have a shadow price. And the shadow price, again, is the marginal profit or the change in profit for every unit addition or subtraction to your current resource value. So in other words, if you have resources, you can make a decision to add or subtract to its present value. But making that decision to add or subtract to its present value will have its reward or consequence. Diba? And that reward slash consequence is reflected in the value of your dual variables. Kaya, if you will see here, Y1 represents the shadow price of the first resource, which is labor, if you recall. Okay, and a zero value for the shadow price simply tells us or tells the manager or the decision maker that there is no value, there is no worth in increasing the value of that resource. Okay? Walang halaga, no? Walang pakinabang, walang benefit, walang extra profit to be earned if you increase labor time. However, if you increase the second resource, which is machine time, as I've explained already last meeting, if you increase machine time, there is an increase in profit of 8.33 or 25/3 for every hour of machine time added. So how can you add machine time? It's either you purchase a new machine, you use an old machine that's just lying there, or you subcontract the work and add machine time so that you can produce more products. Diba? So there are many ways of adding machine time, but all that this is saying is that if you add machine time, then there would be a corresponding increase in your profit if you add. Okay. Consequently, if you subtract machine time, this would be the same amount subtracted from your profit. Your profit will be reduced by this much as well for every hour that you take away from your machine time. Okay. And lastly, this is 21.67, meaning that every additional unit of product A that you're able to sell from our problem last meeting means that you will earn an extra profit, net profit of 21.67. So that's the shadow price of the third resource. So meaning if you improve your marketing effort, you sell more, you're able to generate more profit. So again, the significance of formulating the dual model and determining the optimal solution of the dual, which we have done last meeting, cannot be underestimated, because the values of the dual variables provide managers and decision makers with a tool or a means for making scientific decisions, whether to add or to subtract existing resources. Okay, so yan na yung ano, no? Yan yung significance. That's why we're doing this. Okay, and I think we ended with that. And then we also discussed all of this, no? So today, I would start the discussion with asymmetric linear programs. Kasi, makinig kayo, the normal or the usual form of an LP model is asymmetric. Asymmetric means that your LP model is actually a combination of greater than, equal to, less than equal to, and equal to constraints. Therefore, the more common form of an LP model, a primal or a dual, is really asymmetric. So as such, since this is the usual form of an LP model, then if you encounter an asymmetric linear programming model as your primal, then the first thing that you need to do, if I ask you, formulate the dual of this model, the first thing that you need to do is make sure that it is symmetric. That's the first step. Okay, so today I will discuss some pointers on how to convert asymmetric LP models and make them symmetric first, okay, before you can actually get the dual. So let's proceed to the next slide. Okay, so if you look at this slide, you will see that you can actually convert the objective function from max to min or vice versa. Okay, so if you want a maximization objective to become a minimization, so example, you have max z as your objective function equal to something. and then all of your constraints are greater than or equal to. For example, lang ha. So therefore, if I want to convert this to symmetric form, I have two ways of doing it. The first way is, since all of my constraints are greater than equal to, I will not touch my constraint anymore. I would just have to change this from max to min. Pag min na yan, pag minimization na yan, then symmetric na yung LP model ko. Kasi min tapos greater than or equal to lahat. Di ba? You follow? So number one tells you that if you want to convert this max z equal to, let's say, x1 minus 2x2, for example, then all you have to do is to minimize z. This becomes minimize yo, which is the negative of your z, negative x1 plus 2x2. Okay, so then you're now able to convert this maximization objective into a minimization objective subject to, okay, the greater than or equal to constraints. Symmetric na ngayon. Well, method number two is to retain the maximization objective and convert all of the constraints to less than or equal to. Okay, in which case I retain this, but all of this must be converted to less than or equal to. Then I have a symmetric model. Okay, so the first pointer teaches you how to convert max to min or min to max by simply multiplying by -1 to the entire objective function. Okay, number two teaches you how to convert less than to greater than, and we already know this from high school. To change the sign of the inequality, you have to multiply the whole inequality by -1. So therefore, all of these greater than constraints here, if you want to change it to less than or equal to, you just multiply the whole inequality by -1 to change all of them to less than or equal to. And vice versa. To change less than to greater than, you multiply the whole inequality by -1. I think that's everybody knows that. Now, what if you have an equality constraint, okay, in your LP model, which is also common? Okay, if you have an equality constraint, then this is your example, no? This is your equality constraint. You can actually break this down into two. Okay, two inequality constraints. Okay, so take note that these two inequality constraints are exactly the same, except that one is less than or equal to and the other one is greater than or equal to. Okay, so you can see that these two taken together, okay, these two constraints taken together, the intersection occurs only at the point where 3x1 plus x2 is equal to 10. That's the only intersection of these two constraints. So therefore, to break down an equality constraint, all you have to do is copy it, copy the whole equation except the equality symbol, and replace it by the first one with a less than equal to and the second one with a greater than or equal to. Okay, so now once you have a less than equal to and a greater than or equal to constraint, if your objective is maximization, then the less than equal to is okay, but the greater than equal to has to be multiplied by -1 to convert it to a less than equal to constraint. Okay, and then finally, if you have an unrestricted variable, so therefore, no, let's say, if I want to convert this pala to less than or equal to, then I just multiply by 1. This becomes -3x1 minus x2 less than or equal to -10. If it's a minimization objective, then this one will stay as is, and this one has to be converted to greater than or equal to. Okay, so therefore this one becomes -3x1 minus x2 greater than or equal to -10. Okay, and finally, unrestricted variable. If you have an unrestricted variable, I have taught you this before when we were discussing standard form, okay, of the LP model. If you have unrestricted, let's say x is unrestricted, then express the unrestricted variable x in terms of the difference of two non-negative variables. Okay? So, if x1 and x2 are non-negative, pero x1 is smaller than x2, okay, then this quantity becomes negative. But if it's x1 is greater than or bigger than x2, then this quantity becomes positive. That's why x can be positive, can be 0 if both are x1 and x2 are the same, and can be negative. Okay, it can be positive, 0, or negative. Hence, it is an unrestricted variable. So for unrestricted variables, to convert to symmetric form, express it in terms of difference of two non-negative variables. Okay, ito yun, dalawang non-negative variables. And then, substitute x1 minus x2 into all the x's or into all the unrestricted variables in the model. In other words, once you define this, you will eliminate x from the model. You'll eliminate the unrestricted variable from the model and replace it with x1 minus x2. Okay, so any questions so far on how to convert asymmetric models to symmetric? Any questions?
Sir.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, what do we do again with the unrestricted variable when converting it?
This one. You do this. If there's an unrestricted variable, you first define that the unrestricted variable is equal to, you first define two additional variables and express the unrestricted as a difference of those two. And then, after doing this, substitute x1 minus x2 into all the x's in your LP model.
Okay,
so
sir,
mawawala na yung x, mawawala na yung x, lahat magiging in terms of x1 minus x2 na. Okay? So, last pointer before we go to the next slide. The very first thing that you do when given an asymmetric model is to check may unrestricted variable ba. Yan yung pinakauna. Pag may unrestricted variable, the first thing you do is to express the unrestricted variable or variables in terms of the difference of two non-negative variables. Yun yung pinakauna nyong gagawin. Okay? And then, pag nagawa nyo na yun, isa-substitute nyo agad yon sa mga unrestricted variables. Yung difference of two non-negative, sa-substitute nyo agad. And then, while substituting, kapag may nakita kayong less than or greater than constraint or equality constraint, i-convert nyo na para maging symmetric. So let's illustrate that through this example. Okay? So let's go here. I will begin my lecture here. Okay, so for this one, as I've said, you will see after scanning that x2 is unrestricted in sign. Okay, so therefore, we let the first thing that you do is the unrestricted variable. We let x2, since you have x1 here and x2, only two variables, we let x2 be equal to the same variable na lang with a different subscript. Okay, so that's the first thing you do. Look for an unrestricted variable or variables and then define them. So if I have another unrestricted variable, let's say x5 is unrestricted, for example, and then define kayo x5 is equal to x6 minus x7. Okay? So as many unrestricted variables as you see, just express them in terms of non-negative variables, difference of non-negative variables. Okay, so there's one. Next, we can now start. The objective is maximization. So your goal is that all the constraints should be less than or equal to para symmetric siya. Remember, the instruction is to find the dual of the LP model. Baka dumiretso kayo ha. Uy, 20, yung dual is 20y1 plus 10y2 plus 5y3. Don't do that. Okay? Kasi to find the dual, the first step is to check if symmetric ba yung LP model. Okay? The relationships work if done on a symmetric model. So here, you will see that because of this, hindi pa symmetric, di ba? Kasi there's a mix of inequality symbols and equations. So it's not symmetric. So first step is to convert to symmetric form. Okay? We call this an asymmetric LP model, by the way. Okay, so once you convert the model to symmetric form, that's the time you can find the dual. So symmetric muna tayo. So since we have expressed x2 to be equal to x3 minus x4, then we can now do maximization as our objective with converting all the constraints to less than equal to in mind. Okay? Basta pag max, dapat lahat less than. So let's start. Maximize z. Maximize z equal to 4x1. Please follow with me, ha? 4x1 plus, this time we will eliminate the x2. Kaya pinauna ko yung definition. We will eliminate and substitute it by x3 minus x4. So it becomes 5 times x quantity x3 minus x4, or 5x3 minus 5x4. Okay. Next, subject to first constraint, 3x1 plus, again, 2 times quantity x3 minus x4 becomes 2x3 minus 2x4. No need to do anything here, less than or equal to 20. Okay? Symmetric form ito, hindi standard form, ha? So wala tayong slack surplus variables dito, ha? Okay? Just converting the model to max and less than lahat ng constraint, or min greater than equal to lahat ng constraints. Okay, second constraint. You see here, before you write, no? Tingnan nyo muna. Okay, so unrestricted, okay, dinefine na natin. And then tingnan nyo yung constraint, less than, okay yan. Okay? Second constraint is greater than, so the first thing you do is multiply first by -1 to make it less than. So that's -4x1 plus 3x2 less than or equal to -10. As you can see, sa symmetric form, okay lang na may negative ka sa right side. Pero sa standard form, hindi pwede yan. Okay? So pag magsusolve na tayo, hindi pwedeng may negative. Doon sa methodologies na tinuro ko sa inyo dati, hindi pwede. Okay? So ngayon, na-multiply na natin ito by -1, so less than na. Pwede na tayong umopya rito. So this becomes -4x1 plus 3x2. Pero yung x2 natin is expressed in terms of x3 minus x4. Kaya 3x3 minus 3x4 yan. Okay? Less than or equal to -10. Clear so far, class? Okay, Christian, it's clear? Okay, Jonathan, clear? Okay, next. This constraint naman. Ito, equality constraint. So sabi natin, pag equality, we have to express it in terms of two inequalities. The first one being, kopya lang. Kopya nyo lang, x1 plus x2, pero gawin yung less than or equal to 5, yung first. Yung second, kopya din lang, x1 plus x2 greater than or equal to 5. And take note that these two constraints together, okay, the intersection is just the equality. Okay? Yan lang ang common sa kanila. Kaya, when you put these two constraints together, it's the same as putting x1 plus x2 equal to 5. Okay? So, now, the first part of this equality constraint is less than. So, we just copy x1 plus x2. Don't write x2, but instead of x2, you write x3 minus x4 less than or equal to 5. We have actually converted this already, no? This one. Yeah. Okay. Next, this one. It's greater than eh. So, kailangan maging less than yan. So, therefore, ang first step niyan is to multiply by -1. So, you have -x1 minus x2 then the sense of the inequality would change to less than or equal to negative 5. So once less than or equal to na yan, pwede na natin ilipat dito. Negative x1 minus x2, but minus x2 becomes minus quantity x3 minus x4, so that becomes minus x3 plus x4. Okay, less than or equal to negative 5. So as you can see, we're done converting all the constraints, and the last part would be to say that x1, x3, and x4 are all greater than or equal to 0. Okay? So this one, okay, this model that you see here is your symmetric dual model. Okay, so that's your symmetric dual model. So now, question is, oh, may dual na tayo. Okay, are we done? So as I've said earlier, the usual or the common, the normal form of an LP model is not in symmetric form. The normal form is actually in asymmetric form. Okay? Asymmetric dapat. So therefore, you now have to make observations here in this, sorry, wala pa pala. This is not yet the dual. This is just the symmetric primal. Sorry. Primal pa lang pala. We have just converted the primal from asymmetric to symmetric primal model. Okay, so the next step now is to formulate the dual. Pag symmetric na yan, pwede na natin gamitin yung mga relationships na tinuro ko last meeting to formulate the dual model. Okay, so we can start. Mabilis na to. What will be the objective of the dual model? Anyone? Anyone? Just unmute.
Sir, to minimize po.
Minimize, okay. Minimize, what would be the Z ba o anong letter ang tinuro ko sa inyo last meeting?
Minimize y po.
Okay, minimize y sub o actually. Okay, that's
okay,
our convention. Sir. Okay, and then what happens is you should have objective function coefficients, di ba? So dito makikita natin n is equal to 3. There are 3 variables, x1, x3, and x4. And then m is equal to the number of constraints. You have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so you have 4 constraints. You know that if the primal has 3 variables and 4 constraints, it will be reversed in the dual, such that in the dual, you will have 4 variables and 3 constraints. So it's also good that you can identify this in the primal para you know what to expect in the dual. You expect 4 variables and 3 constraints. So tignan natin. So sa objective function, saan natin kukunin yung objective function coefficient ng dual based on my discussion last meeting?
Sir, from the right-hand side of the constraints.
Okay, from the right-hand side of the constraints. Good. So, I will get it from here. Okay? So, corresponding lang yan, y1, y2, y3, y4. So, just copy, di ba? So, 20, y1, minus 10, y2, plus 5, y3, minus 5, y4. Okay? So, that would be your objective function. Subject to constraints, di ba? The following constraints. So, ito tip. Pagka kinukuha ninyo yung dual model, tapos may symmetric primal model na kayo, since you need to get the first constraint, the second constraint, the third constraint of the dual, the first constraint is the first row. So therefore, ang tingnan nyo sa primal is the column ng mga coefficients. Okay, column palagi. So the column becomes the row here. Kaya when you read this primal model, the easiest way to do that is to read from top to bottom, no, the column. So first column, you now, di ba, yung constraint coefficients is the transpose of the primal constraint coefficients, di ba? Ita-transpose lang natin. So therefore, this column here becomes the first row here, the first column. The second column becomes the second constraint or the second row, and so on. So let's proceed. Subject to 3y1 minus 4y2 plus y3 minus y4. Okay, so all I did was to get 3, negative 4, 1, and negative 1 from here. 3, negative 4, 1, and negative 1. From the first column, transfer it here, multiply it to the respective variables, 4 yung y natin. And then what would be the symbol here of the constraint? Automatic to. What would be the symbol? If this is mean, what would be the symbol here? Greater than or equal to. Okay? Thank you, Kyle. So this one is automatic. Kapag minimization, automatic greater than yung constraint. And then you get the right-hand side from the objective function coefficient here. Okay, so for the first constraint, you get 4. Okay. Next, I hope that's clear. Next, for the second constraint, which is the second row, okay, you will get the second column of your second column of your constraint. So the coefficients are positive 2, positive 3, positive 1, and negative 1. So let's copy here. Positive 2, y1, positive 3, y2, positive y3, minus y4. Okay. Again, greater than or equal to, you now get the right-hand side here should be from this one naman. Okay, objective function coefficient, the second one, which is 5. Okay. So, sige. Can anyone quickly tell me what would be the coefficients of the third row for the dual model? Third row. What would be the third row or the third constraint?
Sir, negative 2y1 minus 3y2 minus y3 plus y4.
Okay, good. So you follow that third column, no? So it becomes negative 2y1 minus 3y2 plus minus y3 plus y4. Again, greater than equal to this one, the last objective function coefficient in your primal. So that would be negative 5. Okay. So, as we have predicted earlier, the dual would have 4 variables. Okay. 4 yan, y1, y2, y3, y4. And then we'll have 3 constraints. So you have 3 constraints already. Then we're done. So therefore, we can now say y1, y2, y3, y4, all greater than or equal to 0. Okay. So again, let me emphasize, symmetric model means maximization and all less than equal to only for the structural or the functional constraints. Okay. does not include the non-negativity. You don't have to convert the non-negativity to less than equal to, only the functional constraints. Okay, I mentioned that last meeting. I'm emphasizing it again. Okay, for the dual model, minimization model, dapat greater than or equal to lahat. And then all variables greater than or equal to 0. So we now say that this model is the symmetric dual model of the primal that we were given earlier, okay, of this primal. So again, as I've said, LP models do not usually come in this form where all constraints are less than or all constraints are greater than. Okay, as you can see, magkakaroon ka ng negative sa right side eh, di ba? Kapag ka symmetric. Okay, pag symmetric form, may mga negative. And again, whether this is a resource or a requirement, it does not make sense that your resource would be negative or your requirement would be negative. Does not make normal sense. And hence, we normally convert back the derived dual into its usual asymmetric form. Okay? So kapag hiningi sa inyo sa quiz, pag hiningi sa inyo sa quiz yung dual model, walang sinabi, basta sinabing formulate, find the dual of the following model. It's understood that that dual should be in asymmetric form. Okay? Understood yon. Pag sinabing dual, asymmetric. Ang makukuha natin, as you can see no, from our process here, ang makukuha natin from asymmetric primal is from symmetric primal is symmetric dual. Baka ma-confuse kayo doon sa I. Okay? Makukuha natin from symmetric primal is symmetric dual. It doesn't stop here. If you're asked to find the dual model, you always need to show the usual or the common form of the dual model, which is asymmetric form. So now, some pointers. Sabi dito, the next slide, okay, we did this already, we did this. Okay, sabi dito, generalization. Every equality constraint in the primal, so we can see here, we can see here. Sorry, not there pala, here. We can see here in the primal that there is an equality constraint. Okay, and there is an unrestricted variable. Okay, take note that there's an equality constraint and there is an unrestricted variable. The first pointer tells us that every equality constraint in the primal corresponds to an unrestricted variable in the dual. Okay, so if you see one equality constraint in your primal LP model, automatic yan. Dapat alam nyo, may unrestricted variable na isa doon sa dual model. Kapag dalawa yung equality constraints meron ka sa primal LP model, understood din agad yon na meron ka dapat dalawang unrestricted variable sa dual model mo. Asymmetric dual model. Okay? So corresponding yan. Equality, one equality is to one unrestricted variable, which makes sense, di ba? Kasi sa primal dual relationship, the number of constraints is equivalent to the number of variables. So kapag may kakaiba ka, may equality constraint ka, corresponding yan sa isang unrestricted variable. Now, if you have an unrestricted variable naman in your primal, okay, sa formulation mo, may unrestricted variable ka, isa. Understood din yan na sa dual model mo, asymmetric dual model mo, meron ka dapat isang equality constraint. So this one will now be equivalent to an equality constraint. So variable to constraint, di ba? In the dual. So if I have two unrestricted variables in my primal, then it follows that I will have two equality constraints in my dual. So knowing that, okay, knowing this 2, I now go back here. Okay, knowing this 2, I now go back to my formulation and say that, okay, since my primal has an equality constraint and an unrestricted variable, expect ko na dapat sa dual ko, meron din akong unrestricted variable at saka equality constraint. Okay? So, paano ko hahanapin yon? Kailangan ma-observe ninyo. So, tingnan ninyo to. Okay? Sa lahat ng rows ninyo, objective function row, and all the 3 constraints, you will see that you can actually factor out y3 minus y4. You can factor it out in every constraint and in the objective function. Di ba? Gagawin mo lang dito, plus 5, quantity, y3 minus y4, close quantity. Dito naman, plus y3 minus y4, ganun din dito. Dito naman, minus y3, quantity minus y4. So in all your rows, constraints and objective function, you can factor out the difference between 2 non-negative variables. Okay? Do you see that, class? Nakikita nyo ba yon? Kita nyo ba yan, class? Hindi nakita? Here. Okay, nakita nyo ba na lahat ng equations natin, constraints natin, may y3 minus y4. Mapa-factor out natin. Okay, thank you, Julian. So, therefore, if you see that, automatically, since you have y1, y2, y3, y4 as your variables in the symmetric dual, define another variable that's not in there, no? y5. And express y5 as the difference between y3 and y4. Okay, and you know that y5 is an unrestricted variable. Okay. Kaya ako sinasabi yung rule kanina para ma-anticipate nyo na. Dahil meron kang equality constraint sa primal mo, anticipate mo na, maghanap ka na ng unrestricted variable which you can express as the difference between 2 non-negative variables in your dual model. Okay, so y5 yon. And then, expect mo na rin na dahil meron kang unrestricted variable doon sa primal mo, dapat meron kang equality constraint dito sa dual. Okay? So, pag equality constraint, maghahanap ka ngayon dito. Diba? Equality constraint means that there are 2 constraints whose intersection is the equality constraint. Therefore, maghahanap ka ngayon ng isang pair of constraints sa model mo na parehong-pareho except that iba lang yung sign. Okay? Para magkaroon ka ng equality constraint, kailangan maghanap ka sa constraints mo, sa set of constraints mo, ng dalawang constraint na parehong-pareho except magka-opposite lang yung sign ng mga coefficients. So here, you will see that if you look closely, hindi na to pareho. 4 and 5, iba na yan. Pero itong dalawa, 5 and negative 5, pareho yan. Sign lang ang nagkaiba. So check mo na ngayon yung mga coefficients dito sa left side. Okay? So you will see 2, negative 2, 3, negative 3, 1, negative 1, negative 1, 1. So parehong-pareho yung coefficients except the sign is negative of the other. If you see 2 constraints na ganyan, it means that you can collapse or combine these 2 constraints and make it into one. Magiging equality constraint ito. Okay? So this one, this 2, actually becomes an equality constraint. So yun na yung nahanap natin. Diba? So now, we can now formulate the asymmetric LP model. So let's start. Minimize y sub o equal to. Okay, so punta tayo dito. 20 y1 minus 10 y2. And then, the y3 minus y4 is now replaced by the variable y5, such that if you substitute y3 minus y4 into y5, you will go back to this symmetric form. Okay? So nawala na yung y3, y4. Okay, so that's the objective. Next, we go to the constraint. Okay, first constraint is 3y1 minus 4y2. And then the y3 minus y4 is now replaced by y5, since we have defined y5 to be equal to y3 minus y4. Okay, and then greater than or equal to 4 pa rin. Okay, now as we have observed, kaya inuna ko yung observation, no, para hindi mo na isusulat lahat, no? As we have observed, constraints 2 and 3 represents an equality constraint, and therefore all you have to do is just to copy it. 2y1 plus 3y2 plus the y3 minus y4 becomes y5 equal to 5. Okay, copy the one that has the positive right-hand side value. Okay, and then change it to equality. Okay. So, finally, since tapos na, you now define y1, y2 greater than or equal to 0. Na negative yan, pero yung y5 mo is unrestricted in sign. As you can see, we ended up with this model, which is what we call the asymmetric dual model of the primal model that was shown earlier. Okay. So any questions? Are there any questions? Okay, so wala kay Julian. How about the rest? Okay. So if there are no questions, then at least marunong na kayo mag-convert ng asymmetric to symmetric. Okay? And then always remember lang, if I'm asking you for the dual model, hindi ko sinabi kung symmetric or asymmetric, sinabi ko lang find the dual model, it's understood that you have to express it in asymmetric form. Okay? Using yung pointers na sinabi ko na every equality is equivalent to an unrestricted variable and every unrestricted in the primal is equivalent to an equality constraint in the dual. Okay, so now, after this one, we go to duality theorem quickly. So the first one is called the weak duality theorem. Okay, so the assumption here for weak duality theorem is that your primal model is max and your dual model is obviously mean. Okay, now that's for your weak duality theorem. That's the assumption. However, if your primal model kasi can be minimization. If that's the original model that you formulated, minimization objective, then that's your primal. So if your primal is minimization and your dual is maximization, then theorem 1 is called the strong duality theorem. Baliktad lang. Okay? So again, this weak duality theorem and all of its corollaries are premised under maximizing primal and a minimizing dual. Okay? So let's go through it. The objective function value of the dual is always greater than or equal to the objective function value of the primal. This is the key. Okay, this is the key for any feasible solution. All right? So ang sinasabi nito is that if your objective function maximization, primal, if your primal objective function is maximization, try to follow with me here. Balik lang ako dito. Naalala niyo last meeting, no, we ended with this. Okay, we ended with this. Okay, we ended with this. Okay, we ended with the primal optimal tableau given ito sa atin. So, ibig sabihin, kapag sinolve mo yung primal model, solve lang natin. Andiyan na. This is your primal example last meeting. 30x1 plus 25x2, tatlong constraint, labor time, machine time, marketable demand. Okay, so all of them are less than equal to. We formulated the dual. Okay, we formulated the dual. This is the dual model. Okay, and then I gave you the optimal tableau of the primal, meaning itong primal model na to, we can solve this using simplex. If we solve it using simplex, okay? Listen here, if we solve this using simplex, sinolve ko. Okay, I solved it quickly, madali lang. Okay, sinolve ko. Ito 'yon. If I solve it using simplex, this is the first iteration. You will see here that your z is equal to 0. Okay, tandaan nyo to ha, tandaan nyo. Basta tandaan nyo lang ngayon. First iteration ng primal LP model natin, z is equal to 0. Iteration 2, nag-iterate ako, Gauss Jordan, yung quiz 2 ninyo, ito yung gagawin nyo. Iteration 2, the z improved to 360. Naturally, no? Because we're maximizing z. Okay, we're trying to max z. So z started with 0. Since we're maximizing, it will move higher in the next iteration, became 360. And in the third and last iteration, your z, since you're maximizing it, finally settled at 635, and you will see that it's already optimal. There's no more negative coefficient. So optimal na yan. So ibig sabihin, nag-start siya sa 0, nagpunta siya sa 360, nagpunta siya sa 635. And you will see that all of these values of the basic variables on the solution column are all positive. Ang ibig sabihin ng positive yung values lahat ng basic variables is that the solution is feasible. Okay, tandaan niyo yan ha, feasible. So from iteration 1, 2, and 3, we have feasible solutions, and the solution slowly went up from 0 to 360 to the optimal solution of 635. Last meeting, ito lang yung pinakita ko sa inyo. Yung optimal tableau lang. Ito lang pinakita ko sa inyo. Okay, ito yung 635. So this is the 635 that we got. And then from this one, I told you that, okay, if you want to solve this dual model, you actually have many choices. Kasi greater than equal to may greater than constraint ka. So therefore, you can actually solve this dual model using big M, or using two-phase method, or using revised simplex two-phase. All of which means that to solve this model, you need to add slack surplus, you need to add surplus and artificial variables. Di ba? Since greater than pareho yan, kailangan may dalawang surplus variable ka at may dalawang artificial variable ka to solve it using big M two-phase or revised simplex two-phase. Okay? So you can do that as your practice. You can take this model, do it as your practice for big M two-phase and revised simplex two-phase. Dapat pareho lang ang lalabas na sagot. doon sa tatlong methodologies na yan. Last meeting, wala naman tayong time. Nagmamadali rin tayo. So, hindi naman natin isosolve na yan using BigM two-phase or revised simplex two-phase. Kaya tinuruan ko kayo na since given na yung optimal tableau ng primal, you can now use duality theorem number 2, duality theorem number 3. Dito, ginamit natin yung duality theorem number 2, which is the optimality criterion theorem. Fast forward tayo. Okay? Ano sinasabi ng optimality criterion? If there exists feasible solutions, again, emphasis on feasible solutions. Okay? If there exists feasible solutions such that the objective function value of the primal and the objective function value of the dual are equal, then these feasible solutions are in fact optimal solutions to the respective problems. Since last meeting, I told you that this is the optimal tableau of the primal and it's a feasible solution. Okay? Then, to derive this optimal tableau of the dual, sabi dito, optimal solution yan kapag equal yung objective function value ng primal and objective function value ng dual. Since I know that this is 635, then therefore, this has to be 635 also, if this is to be the optimal tableau. Okay? So I was simply using theorem number 2 to assume that this is also 635. Okay? So that's theorem number 2. Now going back to theorem number 1. Okay? So last meeting, tinuruan ko kayo paano i-derive yan. So the rest is to make use of theorem number 3, which is the complementary slackness theorem. So ito yun. Tinuro ko to sa inyo. What does the complementary slackness theorem tell us? Balikan natin. Okay? Here. It tells us that for every basic solution of the primal, there is a corresponding complementary basic solution for the dual with the slackness relationship defined by this. So sinasabi lang ng theorem number 3 is that if this optimal solution of the primal is a basic feasible solution, okay, then there has to be a complementary basic solution, feasible solution of the dual, okay, defined by the following relationships. So kailangan i-list down natin yung mga variables ng primal at i-determine natin yung corresponding dual variables niya, which we did last meeting. Ito yon. Okay, ito yon. So sa primal, mayroon tayong x1, x2. Tapos, since tatlong constraint yun na puro less than equal to, then tatlong slack variable, then s1, s2, s3. So since we have 5 variables in the primal, okay, sa corresponding dual natin, okay, which is this model, okay, itong model na to, corresponding dual natin, sabi natin, there are 2 constraints, greater than or equal to, dapat subtract tayo ng surplus variable. Kaya may minus T1 at saka may minus T2 tayo. So 5 variables, Y1, Y2, Y3, T1, T2, compared to the 5 variables of the primal model, X1, X2, S1, S2, S3. So we now look at the correspondence. Sabi ko, if you remember, the decision variables of the primal correspond to the slack or surplus variables of the dual. Okay, so yung X1 mo corresponds to T1, the surplus variable. X2 corresponds to the second surplus variable. Whereas the slack or surplus of the primal corresponds to the main variables of your dual, which is your Y's. Okay, kaya S1 corresponds to Y1 and so on. So after listing this down, Theorem 3 tells us that for every basic solution of the primal, okay, all you have to do is determine which ones are the basic and which ones are the non-basic variables, like what we usually do. Once we have a basic solution here, okay, this is a basic solution, we determine, ito yung basic, okay, kaya pinapasulat ko, ito yung tatlo yung basic, itong dalawa yung non-basic. So once we see that, X1, X2, S1, basic, sulat natin dito. So ang sinasabi, is that kapag basic sa primal, yung variable, yung corresponding variable niya, which is T1, T2, and Y1 in the dual, should be non-basic. Okay? And then the non-basic variables in the primal, in that feasible solution, or in that iteration, S2, S3, should correspond to Y2 and Y3, and Y2 and Y3 should be basic. Ito yung theorem number 3. This is the one. Okay? That's theorem number 3. The relationships of the basic solutions in terms of which ones are basic and which ones are non-basic. So this helped us in identifying that Y2 and Y3 should be the basic variables here. Yan. Okay? So we know that the first row is Y sub O. Pero hindi natin alam, without theorem number 3, we wouldn't know which two variables are basic in your optimal tableau of the dual. Kaya doon natin ginamit yung theorem number 3. Okay, dito. Here we use theorem number 3. Okay? So once we got that, the rest of the values, as I've explained last meeting, would just be from the relationship. Like this right-hand side. Remember, these are three equations. These are three systems of equations. Okay, this is a system of equations consisting of three equations. And therefore, each of these is the right-hand side of each equation. Okay, and the right-hand side would go to the objective function coefficients. And tinuro ko na rin sa inyo kung saan ilalagay yung 5, saan ilalagay yung 11, at saan ilalagay yung 12. Babalik kayo dito. Kaya yung 11, hindi ko dinagay dito kasi yung 11 is x2 eh. Okay? And x2 corresponds to t2, not t1. Kaya ilalagay ko dito yung 11. Okay? And kaya naging negative yan kasi optimal tableau to. Dapat negative lahat ng coefficient. So therefore, minultiply ko itong buong row by negative 1 para maging negative 11 to. Okay? Para pag tinransfer ko, optimal siya, negative 11. And in so doing, this became negative, this became positive. Kaya naging negative 1/3, positive 1/3 ito. Okay? Nung nilipat natin, this row became this column. Right? So I taught you that last meeting. Just go back to the recording. Tinuro ko yan. And to cut it short, by using theorem 2 here, by using theorem 3 here, okay, we were able, and the relationships, no, right-hand side to objective function coefficient, then objective function coefficient going to right-hand side here. Itong objective function napunta dito. Okay? And then the row became the column, 1/3, 5/3. Kaso naging positive kasi multiply ko ng negative 1, naging positive. And then ito, naging napunta dito. Then itong 0, 1, napunta dito. The row became the column. So it's the primal dual relationship. So by using those relationships, we were actually able to derive the optimal tableau. Okay? Optimal tableau. So balik ako. So ito na yung complementary slackness theorem. Okay? Na-discuss na natin ito. Yung primal variables and corresponding dual variables. Okay? And then before I go to that slide, let me go back to theorem 1. Okay. So going back to weak duality theorem, ang sabi dito is that the dual is always greater than the primal. Again, the premise is primal is maximization, dual is minimization. Okay. Having said so many things, okay, nakita natin na 635 yung optimal solution ng primal. At yung dual, 635 din. So let me go back here. So imagine this line. This line is the optimal line or the optimal solution. Meaning, sa line na to, Z is equal to 635. Okay? So if this, imagine this as your ceiling, no? Yung ceiling mo. Ito yung inaabot mo and you're maximizing Z eh. Okay, you're trying to maximize Z. Saan ka mag-uumpisa? Di ba sabi natin doon sa tatlong iterations, nag-umpisa tayo sa 0. Okay, so 0, obviously, if this is the ceiling, 0 would be here. This is Z equals 0. Iteration 1. Next, iteration 2, napunta na tayo dito. Z is equal to, yung pinakita ko sa inyo kanina, Z is equal to 360, iteration 2. Okay. And next, iteration 3, napunta na tayo dito, where Z is equal to 635, and this is iteration 3. So as you can see, all of these iterations are feasible solutions. Pakita ko ulit sa inyo, ha? All of these iterations are feasible solutions. Okay, ito yun. Iteration 1, feasible. Iteration 2, feasible. 360 yung Z. Iteration 3, feasible. 635 yung Z. Feasible solutions lahat. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng nasa area na to, okay, lahat ng nasa area na to are feasible. Ang tanong, Z equals 635, maximum na. Pwede ba akong lumampas? Can I have a Z value greater than 635? Yes or no? Last, yes or no? Okay, somebody said no, I cannot have a Z value greater than 635. Anyone else with your opinion? Anyone? No then. Okay. So the answer is yes, you can have a Z value greater than 635. Okay? So, sir, bakit optimal na? Kung pwede pa akong magkaroon ng Z value ng mas malaki sa 635, bakit natin sinabi na yung Z equals 635, yung iteration 3, ay optimal na? Why did we say that? Okay. Kasi, ang tawag doon sa Z na mas malaki sa 635 is super optimal. Okay? Parang Superman. Mas superior siya, mas mataas siya than the optimal. Kaya super optimal ang tawag sa kanya. However, may consequence. If you want, let's say, to get to this point here, okay, to get to this point, let's say here, this point will definitely be Z greater than 635. Mas malaki sa 635 yan. Kaya ang tawag natin dyan, okay, sa point na yan, ay super optimal. Pero ang problema is that pag super optimal ang solution mo, infeasible yan. Kaya hindi natin kinoconsider sa simplex. Naalala niyo? Sa simplex, we just move from one feasible basic solution or corner point to another adjacent feasible basic solution or feasible corner point. So the movement or the iterative search in simplex involves a search among feasible corner points or feasible solutions. Kaya ang optimal solution na mahahanap ng simplex ay feasible. Pero kung lumabas ka doon sa feasible region, if you can imagine the graphical approach, pag lumabas ka sa feasible region, may mahahanap kang combination of x1 and x2 and x3 variables or values that would give you a higher value of z. Pero the consequence is that it will be infeasible. Kasi nasa labas na siya ng feasible region. Okay? And therefore, we do not consider it. Okay? So ngayon, ang bagong natutunan ninyo, okay, something new, no, is that there exist solutions that would give you higher or lower values of z, okay, than the optimum, pero infeasible siya. Okay? Not feasible. Kaya we don't consider it. Pero they exist. Okay? And they exist and they are called super optimal solutions. Right? So, ibig sabihin, pwede ito. Okay? Pwede yan. This is possible. Right? Pero, since we do not entertain infeasible solutions dahil ang decision variables natin should all be greater than or equal to 0, we stop right here. Okay, we stop right here. Okay, we stop here. This is our optimal solution. Okay, so going back to theorem 1, let's go to the other side, which is minimizing y sub o. Ang nakita natin doon sa optimal solution ng y sub o is 635 din siya. And sabi natin, optimal solution na yan. Okay? So, etong ngayon, on the other side, y sub o is also 635. Meaning, if you're minimizing, you should start with a higher value. Tama? Okay, so i-label ko lang ha. Itong portion na to, itong portion na to, hatiin ko ha. Yung portion na yan. Primal. Okay? Yung portion niya na naka-shade represents primal feasible solutions, whereas this portion naman represents primal infeasible solutions. Pero higher than z equals 635. Okay? So primal infeasible solutions. Now, ang tawag sa point na to na mas malaki sa 635 is a super optimal solution. Ang tawag naman sa point na ito, sa dalawang point na ito, which is lower than 635 pero feasible, okay? Both of these points are called suboptimal solutions. Ibig sabihin lower than the optimal. Okay? So one is called super optimal. The other one is called suboptimal. Any questions so far? I need you to understand these concepts. Malapit na mag-time. I need you to understand. Any questions? Okay, thank you, Joaquin. Okay, sige. So, punta naman tayo sa dual. Okay, sa dual. We say that we are minimizing. Meaning, dapat from a high value, pababa tayo. Thanks, Christopher. From a high value, pababa tayo. So kung 635 ang optimal solution, balik ako dito. Sorry, pabalik-balik ako. Kung nakita natin na ang dual optimal tableau, which is this, okay, this one, ito yung dual optimal tableau, kung nakita natin na yung optimal solution, YO is 635, ibig sabihin, last iteration na to. Last iteration. Ibig sabihin, the first few iterations before this, dapat mas malaki or mas maliit ang value ng y sub o in the previous iterations. Mas malaki or mas maliit dapat? Based on what I have taught you in the previous weeks. If this is the optimal and the last iteration, and the value of YO, minimum YO is 635, what should be the value of YO in the previous iterations? Should they be greater than 635 or less than 635? Anyone? O, sabihin nyo ng iteration 5 ito. Optimal na. Okay? Using big M or two-phase, optimal na. 635. Yung mga previous iterations mo, should they be less than, should YO be less than, or should YO be greater than 635? Paano ba ang movement ng simplex kapag ka nag-minimize ka? Oh, may sumagot, should be lower. Anyone else? Anyone else? Ano dapat sagot? Ang dapat na sagot is yung previous iterations mo, dapat mas malaki yung value ng Y sub O. Tama ba? Kasi you are minimizing eh. Diba? Pag nag-minimize ka, di ba dapat from one iteration to the next, paliit ng paliit dapat yung Y sub O value mo until mahanap mo yung bottom, which is the minimum. Diba? So, 635 yung minimum value. I hope you understand that 635 yung minimum value. Dapat, mag-umpisa ka, kung mag-umpisa ka dito, paliit ng paliit hanggang sa mahanap mo itong minimum. Kasi you're minimizing eh. You should start with the high value going down. So, the direction of movement, okay, should be such that you start here perhaps, and this is Y. Hindi natin na-solve eh, so hindi ko alam kung ano yung value ng Y, but I know for a fact that this should be greater than 635. And then perhaps I can, sample lang to ha, I can have another iteration which is greater than 635 pa rin, but less than the first one. Okay? Nakuha nyo? Until I reach this point where Y is equal to 635. Okay? Nakuha nyo? So, the direction of the value is pababa. Pababa dapat yung value. Whereas dito, sa X, pataas. Pataas dapat. Di ba? Sa X. Sa Y, pababa dapat yung value. So, in other words, nag-meet lang sila at optimal solution. Yan yung optimality criterion theorem, theorem number 2. Okay? So, mapapansin natin, balik lang ako dito. I need to make this clear to all of you. Okay? Mapapansin natin na as your dual model solution moves from a value higher than 635 and then a value higher than 635 until it reaches 635, which is the optimal solution, okay, pababa ng pababa yung value. Alright? So, itong region na to, ay, wait lang ah. Okay? Yung region na yan, okay, this time, this region here, so ito naman, may region din sa dito, which I will ask you in a while. Okay? So this region here for the dual model, so again, this is for the dual, and this is for the primal. Itong region na to, ito yung mga suboptimal solutions mo. Okay, so let's assume there's a point here, an iteration here. So these two are suboptimal solutions for the dual. Suboptimal. Meaning hindi pa sila optimal kasi inferior pa sila to 635. Mas mataas sila sa 635 eh. Since your objective is minimization, inferior sila, suboptimal yan. And feasible. In other words, this region is feasible solutions. Ngayon, if I ask you the question, is it possible for me to get an even lower value compared to 635? The answer is just like earlier. Yes, it is possible. Since the minimum value at optimum is 635, if you get a value of y sub o less than 635, then we call that a suboptimal solution. So it's possible for you to have a point here and a point here. Okay? But take note that these points, both of these points are less than 635. Okay? This one, YO is less than 635. And both of these points, okay, both of these points are called super optimal solutions naman. Okay, super optimal. Pero, just like yung kaninang sinasabi ko, pag super optimal, infeasible yan. Okay, infeasible. For the dual model, infeasible na itong region na to. Okay, ang feasible lang is here. Okay, so I want you to look at this diagram. Okay, tingnan niyo mabuti itong diagram na to. We have a primal and a dual model. Okay, dinivide ko lang into two parts. For the primal, you start with a low solution, pataas, hanggang sa may reach mo yung 635, which is your maximum Z. For the dual, you start with a high value of y sub o, very high, and then you work slowly downwards until you reach this optimum point of 635. Okay? So as you can see, the theorem number 1 tells us that the objective function value of the dual is always greater than or equal to. Mapapansin mo, if you compare the Z value 0, 360, okay, and so on, etong dual mo, laging mas malaki than 635. Okay, laging mas malaki for any feasible solution. So take note that itong naka-shade na to, this part, is the feasible part of the dual solution, of the dual model. Itong part is the feasible part for the primal. So for any feasible solution, if I were to compare feasible and feasible solutions, laging ang value ng dual mas mataas than the value of the primal. Yan yung ibig sabihin ng weak duality theorem. Okay? Corollary number 1, the maximum value for the objective function of the primal, which is this. The maximum value for the objective function of the primal, which is Z equals 635, is a lower bound for the objective function value of the dual. So if this is the dual, the lower bound is this point, which is 635. Okay? So makikita natin, for feasible solutions, it is only at this point, Z equals 635 and YO equals 635, that they are equal to each other. Okay? Ito yung feasible solution, ito yung feasible solution ng primal, ito yung feasible solution ng dual. For any feasible solution, if they're equal to each other, the primal and the dual, if they're equal to each other, then this point here is actually the optimal solution already. Okay? So this point here is the optimal solution for the dual. So this is YO equal to 635. There. Okay? Kaya yun yung sinasabi ng weak duality theorem. Itong 635 is a lower bound for the dual. Okay? If we want to consider feasible solutions lang. Okay? Now, if we go over here, this becomes infeasible. And if we go under pa, mas mababa pa, this becomes infeasible. Okay? So, we'll go back to that in a while, no? Before we dismiss. Corollary number 2. If the primal is feasible and unbounded, okay, ito. Alam na natin ito from quiz number 2 topic, yung special cases. We already know kung kailan nagiging unbounded yung solution space. Okay? So, unbounded siya kapag ka yung non-basic variable in any iteration, 0 or negative lahat ng constraint coefficients. Unbounded yan. And if that non-basic variable qualifies as an entering variable, then the z value is also unbounded. The solution, it's feasible, the model is feasible, pero unbounded yung z, unbounded din yung solution space. So, based on this corollary, if you see that the LP model you're solving is unbounded and has infinite z value, then you don't need to derive the dual model and solve the dual model. Kasi automatically, the dual model will have no feasible solution. So wag na kayong mag-abala. Okay? So indicator lang ito, if your primal is feasible and unbounded, or lagay na natin dito, infinite z value also, unbounded and infinite z, then the dual has no feasible solution. Corollary 3 naman, okay, ganun din. If the dual is feasible and unbounded, baliktad naman. Pag sa dual model, nagsusolve kayo, tapos feasible and unbounded, then the primal has no feasible solution. Okay? So that leads us to no need for this example kasi I have already illustrated this example through the one on the right side of your screen. Ito ang sinasabi lang nito, you have a maximization model na dalawang less than or equal to constraint. Okay, symmetric form na yan. Finormulate yung dual. So ito yung dual. Kaya yung 20 napunta sa objective at yan, kinuha yung transpose. The objective function coefficients went to the right side. So this is the dual model. So you now have a primal. Kino-compare ngayon yung primal and dual. So parang pag nag-graphing kayo, mag-assume kayo ng value ng x1, x2, x3, x4. Any value, mag-assume kayo. Basta't magsasatisfy sa constraint na itong dalawa. Ganon din sa y1, y2. Assume any value of y1 and y2 na magsasatisfy sa lahat ng constraint. And then, isolve ninyo yung z tsaka yo. So this is what happens in the next slide. Okay? You assume any value of x1 to x4 that will satisfy your 2 constraints and y1 and y2 that will satisfy your 4 constraints. You will see that for as long as your solutions are feasible, ibig sabihin walang negative. Okay? Feasible. Lahat ng solutions mo or lahat ng isa-substitute mo are feasible. You will see that your y sub o is always greater than or equal to your z. Again, the assumption of this theorem is that you have a maximizing primal and a minimizing dual. That's the assumption. Okay, max primal and min dual. So you will see na laging mas malaki ito compared to dito. Okay, which is exactly what I have shown you through our example last meeting. Okay, the yo value for any feasible solution, considering this and this, the yo value will always be greater than your z value for any feasible solution. That's theorem number 1. Next, corollary number 2. Okay, corollary number 2. You will see that this model, okay, itong primal model na finormulate ninyo, pag isosolve nyo to using simplex, you would have to get the standard form of the objective, c minus x1 minus x2 equal to 0. And then you'd have to add a slack variable here plus s1 and a slack variable here plus s2 to convert it to standard form. And then solve na. Now, when you transfer the coefficients, take note that since all of the constraints are less than or equal to, okay, here, then it means that your solution, you have 5 variables and 2 constraints. So 3 variables have to be 0. So your initial solution would be x1 equal to x2 equal to x3 equal to 0. That would be your non-basic variables. And your S1 will be 2. Your S2 will be 1. Okay, that would be your basic variables. Okay, so without actually transferring to the simplex tableau or first iteration, kitang-kita nyo naman eh. Okay, pag nilipat ko yung coefficient ng x1, makikita nyo, negative lahat. X1 is a non-basic variable. Okay, if you transfer the coefficient to the tableau, yung x1 negative what's the original? Negative 1 and negative 2 yung coefficient ng x1. So indicator agad ito na unbounded. And furthermore, if you look at the standard form of your z, negative 1 yung coefficient ng x1. So it qualifies as entering variable. And therefore, because of this, we say that you have infinite z value. Okay? So the conclusion here is that the primal model is feasible and unbounded based on theorem 1, corollary 2. Okay, actually, based on what you've learned in the special cases, you will be able to conclude that this model is feasible and unbounded, or it is unbounded and has an infinite z. And because of theorem 1, corollary 2, because of this theorem, you can now conclude that the dual has no feasible solution. Okay? The dual has no feasible solution. If you want the proof, then ito yung proof. This will be your proof that the dual has no feasible solution. That's the proof. Okay? So the proof is you formulate the dual model. Puro symmetric naman to eh. So you can derive the dual model right away using the relationships. And then, after getting the dual model, look at the first constraint. Okay? So makikita natin, di ba? This one becomes the first row. Kaya negative 1, negative 2. And then this one, the coefficient here becomes the right-hand side, which is 1. Like that. So you will see that the right side is positive, but the left side has negative coefficient. And y1, y2 are both greater than or equal to 0. Okay? y1, y2 are both positive or non-negative dapat. So mag-isip kayo ngayon, anong value ng y1 and y2, 0 or positive value, that would satisfy this constraint? Tingnan nyo, pag 0 ang i-substitute ko, 0 yung right side. It violates the constraint because 0 is not greater than 1. If I substitute a positive value to y1 and y2, all the more, mas magiging negative yung left side. Kasi negative, let's say, negative 1 minus 2 times 1, negative 1. So, ang mangyayari, pag negative 1, okay, pag negative 1, pwede. And then, di ka pwede mag-negative 1 eh. So, pag positive 1 yung y2, positive 1 yung y1, magiging negative 1 minus 2, negative 3. It's not greater than 1. In other words, by looking at the first constraint alone, there is no value of y1 or y2 that will satisfy this constraint. And hence, the conclusion is, since wala kang value na magsasatisfy ng constraints mo, dual model has no feasible solution. So, ang sinasabi lang natin is that kapag binigyan ko kayo ng ganitong model, hindi nyo na kailangan gawin to. Di ba? This is just a proof. Okay? Hindi nyo kailangan. You can just say that based on theorem 1, corollary 2, this model being unbounded and having infinite z, then the dual has no feasible solution. Okay? So, na-discuss na rin natin to, theorem 2, feasible, if there exists feasible solution. So if you look at this diagram here on the right side of your screen, ito yung feasible solution ng primal, ito yung feasible solution ng dual, and ang only feasible solution, okay, na pareho sa kanilang dalawa is this point, this line here. This is the only feasible solution for both primal and dual. So sabi dito, if there exists feasible solution such that objective function of the primal and objective function of dual are equal, ito yun, then this point 635, this value 635 is indeed the optimal solution for both the primal and the dual. So that's optimality criterion 2. So we're done with theorem 3, we're done with this. So this is the last before I dismiss you. Okay? So you will see here the observations, no? That Z is equal to YO at optimum. Okay? Now, I have done this 3 iterations, no? Look at this, no? For the primal. Z is equal to 0, Z is equal to 360. Okay? And then Z is equal to 635. Now, I can actually come up with dual solution or a dual set of iterations where the value of YO is also equal to 0, 360, and 635. Okay, so balik ako dito. Yeah. Kita niyo to, ha? Here. So you will see here that I can also, let me erase this. So I can draw a counterpart here. This point, YO is equal to 0. This point, YO is equal to 360. And this point, YO is equal to 635. Okay? So I can do that. Okay. So ibig sabihin, it is possible for me to actually solve a model where I will achieve optimality coming from infeasibility. So take note that for the dual model, this part here is infeasible. Okay? I can actually get to the optimal point by traveling from y equals 0 to y equals 360 to y equals 635. Pero the process is different from what I taught you for quiz 2. Kasi sa quiz 2, the process is always coming from suboptimality papuntang optimality. Okay? Remember that, ha? Suboptimality papuntang optimality. Ganon din kapag maximization. From suboptimality, ito, papuntang optimality. Yan yung tinuro ko para sa quiz 2 coverage natin. Sa quiz 3, ini-introduce ko ngayon sa inyo na pwede nating marating itong optimality coming from infeasibility or super optimal solution. Okay? From infeasibility papunta sa optimality. Okay? From infeasibility here papunta sa optimality. And ang gagamitin nating method is called the dual simplex method. Okay? So this is a new method that we can use Okay, this is a method used to solve any LP model, whether it's primal or dual. So the name dual simplex is actually misleading. A lot of students think that they can only use this method to solve for the dual model. Mali yun. Okay, you can use this method to solve for primal or dual LP models, the only condition is that those models, whether primal or dual, must have at least one greater than equal to or equal to constraint. Okay? So yun lang yung only condition, ito lang. Okay? Dapat may greater than equal to or equal to na constraint. Now, obviously, this is an alternative to big M or two-phase. So ang maganda dito is that avoids the burdensome use of artificial variables. Hindi na tayo kailangan magdagdag ng artificial variables. Surplus variables and slack variables will do. Okay? So, yan yung maganda dito. And the difference between this methodology and the big M versus the big M and the two-phase is that this one moves from super optimality papuntang optimality. Whereas the previous methods that I taught you will move from suboptimality to optimality. Okay? So, makikita natin, next meeting, no, I'll show you that the primal starts with a feasible solution. Actually, ito na yun eh. Okay? The primal starts with a feasible solution, okay? While the corresponding dual, ito yung corresponding na sinasabi ko, pareho yung value nila, Z0, YO is 0. C is 360, YO is 360. Okay? Pareho yung value nila, pero makikita natin that the corresponding dual solution is infeasible. Okay? Nasa infeasible space tayo. Super optimal ito. Mas mababa sa 365 yung value ng Y sub O dito. Okay? So, yan yung isang observation na makikita natin with this method, na possible pala for you to move to optimality coming from super optimality or infeasibility. And number 3, it is only at optimum. Pagdating dito, the solution becomes feasible. Feasible siya sa primal, feasible din siya sa dual. So it is only at optimum that both solutions giving a value of 635 are both feasible. Okay? So, ito na yung mga tinuro ko. This is the question. Does solution meet optimality condition? Meaning, may entering variable ka pa ba? May entering variable ka pa ba? So pag maximization, may negative coefficient ka pa ba? Pag minimization, may positive coefficient ka pa ba sa objective function row mo? Okay? Pag wala na, then optimal na, wala ka ng EV. So therefore, the question is, if the solution meets optimality condition, wala nang entering variable, optimal na yung objective function row mo. Yes. Then, tapos, feasible yung solution. So, dalawang tanong, di ba? Optimal na and feasible. So, we are looking at optimal and feasible. If an iteration or a simplex tableau is both optimal and feasible, then we call that solution an optimal solution. Okay? Pero, pag hindi pa optimal, no. Hindi pa optimal. May entering variable pa. Pero feasible siya. Okay? Optimal, not optimal but feasible, then we call that a suboptimal solution. Ito yon. Okay? Ito yon. Okay? Feasible siya, pero hindi pa optimal kasi nandiyan yung optimal eh. Okay? Hindi pa optimal. So we call this a suboptimal solution. Ganon din dito. Okay? Feasible, pero hindi pa optimal kasi ito yung optimal eh. So suboptimal ang tawag dito. Ito yon, suboptimal. Okay? Next. Does the solution meet optimality condition? Yes. So kapag optimal na, wala nang entering variable, pero no. Is the solution feasible? No, hindi siya feasible. Then we have a super optimal solution. So ito yon. Okay, ito yon. Mas dito, optimal na siya, wala nang entering variable, pero infeasible. That is what makes it super optimal. Okay? Ganon din dito. Okay? Infeasible to. Okay? Infeasible. Pero mas mataas siya, or mas mababa pa siya than the minimum value of 635. So therefore, super optimal siya. Okay? And finally, if your iteration is neither optimal nor feasible, may entering variable ka pa, tapos infeasible pa yung solution column mo, may negative basic variable ka, then the solution is neither feasible nor super optimal. Okay? So, feasible means all basic variables are 0 or positive in the solution column of the simplex tableau. That's what feasible means. Okay, so the conclusion here, after seeing this diagram here, is that it is possible pala to reach optimum from a super optimal point. Okay, posible pala yun to reach optimum from a super optimal point. And the method that we will use in order to get from here, okay, from here, super optimal point, to here, which is optimal, or from here, super optimal point, to here, which is optimal, is dual simplex method. That's the method that we will use. Okay, so the most important thing is the dual simplex method is, number 1, dapat meron to. Dapat yung model mo, merong at least isang ganito. And then, the steps, okay, alternative to big M or two-phase. Okay, so alam nyo na yan. Okay, ito na yung algorithm. So, in your Canvas, nag-upload na ako. Dinagay ko na doon yung homework number 8 nyo with the instructions. Step by step yon, class. So, for those who left na, actually, ilan na lang natira ngayon dito, they will see the instructions there. No? So, the first that I want you to do is to solve this model. Anyway, nadun sa instruction. Ito, isolve nyo to. This one. Okay? This model. Which is the model that we discussed last meeting. Since we have a 1 week break, no? Of course, you have your test this Saturday. We have a 1 week break. Your first assignment is to solve this using the dual simplex method. So, reading assignment nyo tong dalawang slides na to. From this slide, the most important thing here is the first step you will do is to change all the constraints. Kasi, di ba, may greater than equal to at least isa, di ba? Or equal to constraint. So, you have to convert all the constraints to less than or equal to. That's the first step. And then, pag na-convert nyo to less than or equal to, you add corresponding slack variables. Okay? Puro slack variables lang ang kailangan nyo idagdag dito. Kasi you are converting everything to less than or equal to. Right? And then, the first tableau, initial tableau, should be super optimal. So, ibig sabihin, kapag hindi super optimal yung first tableau, tuturuan ko kayo next meeting kung paano gawing super optimal. Pero for this assignment, super optimal yan yung first tableau. Ibig sabihin ng super optimal, infeasible siya, pero wala ka ng entering variable. Okay? Infeasible siya, doon sa solution column, may negative ka, pero sa objective function row, wala ka ng entering variable. Optimal na siya. Yun yung super optimal. Okay, that's how you determine that. And then, sa iteration, ang pagkakaiba lang is that instead of determining the EV muna, tapos yung LV, sa procedure na to, you determine the leaving variable first. Okay? And the leaving variable is the one that has the most negative basic variable value in the solution column. Okay, yan yung leaving variable mo. And then, you determine the entering variable. Okay? This time, ang ratio, tinitake natin by row na. Yung leaving variable row divided by the corresponding coefficient of the non-basic variable. So therefore, hindi na solution column versus pivot column. It is actually yung objective function row mo divided by the pivot row. Okay? And yung note natin is, kung dati, 0 or negative denominators do not qualify as leaving variable, ngayon naman, positive or 0 denominators do not qualify as entering variable. So yan lang yung changes from our method or procedure before to now. Okay? Tapos, once na-determine mo na yung EV, okay? Once na-determine mo na yung EV, the next steps are the same as your quiz 2. Yung pag-convert into identity matrix at gagawin mong 0 yung lahat ng coefficient ng basic variables sa objective function. pareho na yan doon sa quiz 2 ninyo, which is the Gauss-Jordan elimination. Okay, that will be the same. So I want you to study these 2 slides, the procedure, apply the procedure into this problem, solve it. Then, kapag na-solve nyo na, you have your iterations already. 3 iterations ito. This will be 3 iterations. Pag nakuha nyo yung 3 iterations, compare nyo ngayon dito. Okay? The solution is already here. Iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3. Pag tama, pag nakuha nyo yung tama, then stop ka na, proceed to answering the assignment.